The quantum sensors aboard Deep Space Monitor Station Delta 7 lit up like a supernova at 300 hours Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the readings in disbelief, her hands hovering over the holographic interface as streams of data poured in from the outer system arrays. The void between stars was tearing open, massive ships emerging through ripples in space-time that shouldn't exist. "Director Wei," she called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her system. "You need to see this." Station Director James Wei appeared at her shoulder within seconds, his weathered face illuminated by the pulsing emergency indicators. He studied the readings without comment, only the slight tightening around his eyes betraying his recognition of what they were seeing. "How many?" he asked quietly. 700 and counting, sir. Their emergence pattern suggests this is just the vanguard." We nodded once, then opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Station Delta 7. Implementation of Protocol Avalanche is now authorized. Authentication code Sigma 7 Delta 9 Epsilon." The response was immediate. "Authentication accepted. Protocol Avalanche is now active. All stations, initiate Shadow Protocol." Throughout the solar system, humanity's carefully maintained facade began to fall away. Artificial asteroids that had drifted innocuously through space for decades shed their rocky camouflage, revealing sleek warships bristling with weapons that combined multiple technological paradigms. Quantum computational arrays hidden in the corona of the sun spun up to full power, their organic crystal hybrid processors beginning to map every possible combat scenario. The alien fleet continued to emerge, their ships arranged in perfect geometric formations that spoke of absolute confidence in their technological superiority. Their design philosophy was unified, elegant, and completely predictable to the human commanders who had spent generations preparing for this moment. In her office aboard the lunar defense platform, Admiral Helena Rodriguez watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. The aliens were following almost exactly the pattern their simulations had predicted, a species that had achieved technological supremacy along a single developmental path, unable to conceive of alternatives. "All command stations, this is Admiral Rodriguez. For 300 years, we've maintained the illusion of a fractured, technologically primitive species. We've hidden our true capabilities behind a carefully constructed mask of inefficiency and division. That ends today." She gestured, and the tactical display expanded to show the full scope of humanity's hidden defenses. Quantum entanglement networks linked every ship and station in perfect coordination. Biomechanical enhancement systems merged with artificial intelligence cores in ways that would have seemed impossible to their attackers. Each human vessel incorporated technologies that should have been mutually exclusive, creating capabilities that defied conventional military doctrine. "The enemy expects to find an easy target," Rodriguez continued. "They expect primitive kinetic weapons, basic energy shields, and uncoordinated resistance. Instead, they're about to discover why humanity's greatest strength has always been our refusal to accept artificial limitations." In the void between Mars and Jupiter, the first alien scout ships were approaching what appeared to be a cluster of communications satellites. The alien sensors registered the primitive technology, noted the inefficient power signatures, and dismissed them as irrelevant targets. That was their first mistake. As the scouts passed within range, the satellites revealed their true nature. Quantum fields merged with gravitic distortion waves, while biological computing systems adapted faster than any conventional computer could process. The alien vessels found themselves caught in a web of overlapping fields that turned their own advanced technology against them. Aboard Delta 7, Dr. Chen watched in fascination as the alien ship's perfect formation began to break down. "Their command and control structure is fragmenting," she reported. "They're trying to adapt, but their responses are limited. They can't seem to process what they're seeing." Director Wei allowed himself a small smile. "Of course they can't. They've spent millennia perfecting a single approach to space warfare. We spent those same millennia learning every possible approach, then finding ways to make them work together. The main alien fleet was accelerating now, their formation shifting to address the unexpected threat. But with each passing moment, more of humanity's hidden capabilities were revealing themselves. Ships emerged from the shadow of planets, powered by technologies that combine matter and energy in ways that violated what the aliens considered fundamental laws of physics. As the first real exchanges of fire began, it became clear that this would not be the easy conquest the alien fleet had anticipated. Each human vessel fought differently, using combinations of technologies that made their actions impossible to predict. Where the aliens expected to find primitive beings cowering behind simple defenses, they instead found an opponent that had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. The battle for Sol system had begun, and humanity was about to show the galaxy why they had been wise to hide their true nature for so long. Supreme Commander Vaxthal of the Concordiate expansion fleet watched in mounting disbelief as another battle group reported catastrophic systems failure. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were systematically dismantling his fleet's most advanced technology with an ease that shouldn't have been possible. Tactical analysis complete, his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Rennes, reported. "We're detecting energy signatures that suggest." She hesitated, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Sir, they're using quantum field manipulation alongside biological computing cores. The combination should be impossible. The energy patterns would destroy any organic matrix." Clearly, Vaxthal responded dryly. They failed to realize that. He studied the tactical display, watching as another group of human vessels emerged from what his sensors insisted was completely empty space. Their ships seemed to flicker between different states of existence, making targeting solutions impossible to calculate. In the command center of Earth's Mars Defense Complex, General Maya Patel received the latest intelligence updates with grim satisfaction. "Show me the Concordiate flagship's reactions to Defense Pattern Echo," she ordered. The holographic display shifted, showing the alien vessel's desperate attempts to adapt to the human battle strategy. The massive ship was impressive, a pinnacle of technological achievement along a single, carefully refined path of development. It was also, Patel noted, completely unable to handle the chaotic mix of technologies humanity had deployed against it. "They still haven't realized the truth," her tactical officer, Colonel Jack Harper, noted. 3 centuries of carefully planted misinformation, showing them exactly what they expected to see. A fractious, primitive species barely able to achieve lunar colonization. Patel nodded. "The greatest deception wasn't hiding our technology," she said. "It was hiding our understanding. Every probe they sent, every surveillance satellite, we let them see exactly what they wanted to see. A species following the normal path of technological development." Deep within the asteroid belt, humanity's true technological achievements were becoming fully apparent. What the aliens had dismissed as mining operations were revealed to be massive manufacturing complexes, each combining multiple technological approaches in ways that the Concordiate's sensors struggled to comprehend. Aboard his flagship, Vaxthal received another shocking report. "Commander," Rennes called out, her voice strained. "We've decoded some of their communications. They're not just using different technologies simultaneously. They're synthesizing new approaches in real time during combat." The implications hit Vaxthal like a physical blow. The Concordiate, like every other advanced civilization they had encountered, had achieved its power by mastering one technological path. The idea of combining multiple, seemingly contradictory approaches wasn't just heretical, it had been proven impossible by their finest minds. Yet here were the humans, casually violating what his civilization had considered immutable laws of physics. Their ships used quantum drives alongside conventional propulsion, organic computing systems working in perfect harmony with artificial intelligence, energy weapons that somehow combined principles that should have torn reality apart. "Sir," Rennes reported, "we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the system. The humans, they're activating something." Throughout the solar system, massive structures began to emerge from their camouflage. The rings of Saturn shifted, revealing themselves to be an enormous sensor array. The Great Red Spot of Jupiter pulsed with artificial energy, a power plant beyond anything the Concordia had ever conceived. General Patel watched as the alien fleet's formation began to break down. "They're realizing it now," she said quietly. "Everything they thought they knew about us was wrong. Every weakness they planned to exploit was carefully crafted fiction." In orbit around Earth, the planet's final defensive measures activated. The seemingly primitive satellite network transformed, each component revealing itself to be part of a vast, integrated defense system. The technology was beyond anything the Concordia had believed possible for a primitive species, because it combined principles that no single civilization had ever successfully merged. Vaxthal stared at the tactical display, watching as his fleet's carefully planned attack dissolved into chaos. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were revealing capabilities that his civilization had never imagined possible. Each human counterattack demonstrated mastery of multiple technological principles, used in combinations that defied conventional understanding. "All ships," he transmitted, his voice heavy with the weight of revelation, "fall back to secondary positions. Initiate full defensive protocols." He paused, mandibles clicking in what his species' equivalent of bitter amusement. "And prepare to update all tactical databases. It seems we greatly underestimated what happens when you give a species 3 centuries to prepare for your arrival." The battle for Sol system continued, but the nature of the conflict had fundamentally changed. The Concordia's expectations of a swift conquest had been shattered, replaced by the dawning realization that they had walked into humanity's carefully prepared trap, a trap 300 years in the making. Captain Diana Santos stood at the helm of the ESS Prometheus, watching as her ship's hybrid systems adapted to the alien fleet's latest tactical shift. The massive vessel combined technologies that the Concordia had deemed impossible to integrate: quantum biological processors, dark matter reactors working in harmony with antimatter containment fields, and weapon systems that drew power from multiple dimensions simultaneously. "They're learning," her tactical officer, Lieutenant Raj Patel, reported. "The alien fleet is attempting to modify their shields to account for our hybrid weapon systems." Diana allowed herself a small smile. "But they're still thinking linearly. Show me their adaptation pattern." The tactical display expanded, showing the Concordia ships adjusting their defenses. Each modification was brilliant, precise, and utterly predictable to anyone who understood the limitations of single-path technological development. "All ships, this is Santos," she transmitted to her battle group. "Initiate Chaos Protocol Delta. Let's show them why humanity stopped thinking in straight lines centuries ago." Throughout the solar system, human vessels began to move in patterns that seemed random but followed a deeper logic. Ships merged quantum fields with gravitational distortions, creating weapons that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Defense systems incorporated biological adaptation algorithms alongside artificial intelligence, evolving faster than the alien fleet could analyze. Aboard the Concordia flagship, Supreme Commander Vaxthal struggled to understand what he was seeing. "How are they coordinating these attacks?" he demanded. "Each human vessel appears to be using completely different technological principles, yet they move with perfect synchronization." Sub-Commander Renez's analysis painted a disturbing picture. "Sir, we're detecting something unprecedented. The humans aren't just combining technologies. They're creating new ones in the middle of combat. Their ships are sharing innovations across their network in real time." Deep within Earth's quantum defense network, Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the battlefield's evolution. The massive quantum computer complex, hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean, wasn't just processing combat data. It was actively generating new technological solutions by combining principles in ways that the aliens had never considered possible. "The Concordia fleet is attempting to establish a predictive model for our attack patterns," she reported to Admiral Chen. "They're still trying to find the underlying logic in what they perceive as chaos." Admiral David Chen nodded, watching as the tactical display showed human forces executing maneuvers that seemed to defy physical laws. "They won't find it," he said quietly. "Not as long as they keep thinking there's only one right way to approach the problem." The battle reached a critical phase as the Concordia launched a coordinated assault on what they believed to be a weak point in Earth's defenses. Their ships moved with precision, their formation perfect, their timing exact, and they flew straight into humanity's trap. Captain Santos watched as the trap was sprung. "All ships, activate the quantum resonance field. Let's show them what happens when you combine technologies they think are mutually exclusive." The space around the alien fleet suddenly lit up with energy patterns that defied conventional physics. Quantum fields merged with biological interfaces, creating defense penetration systems that adapted faster than any single technology could counter. Human ships seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously, their weapons striking from angles that shouldn't have been possible. In the Lunar Command Center, General Maya Patel received confirmation that the Chaos Protocol was achieving its intended effect. "The alien fleet is losing coherence," her tactical officer reported. "Their formation is breaking down as each ship tries to adapt to multiple threats simultaneously." "They still don't understand," Patel observed. "They see our technology as impossible because they can't break free from their linear thinking. Every solution they try is based on the assumption that there's only one correct way to solve a problem." The truth was far more complex. Humanity hadn't just developed multiple technological paths. They had learned to combine them in ways that created entirely new possibilities. Each human ship was a testament to centuries of breaking down artificial barriers between different scientific principles. Aboard the Concordia flagship, Vaxthal watched in growing horror as his fleet's carefully planned assault dissolved into chaos. Human vessels phased through solid matter, their quantum drives working in perfect harmony with conventional engines. Weapons that combined biological targeting systems with AI prediction algorithms struck with impossible accuracy. "Sir," Rennes reported, her voice tight with stress, "we're detecting new energy signatures. The humans, they're deploying something else." Throughout the solar system, humanity's most closely guarded secrets began to reveal themselves. The asteroid belt shifted, showing itself to be part of a vast defense network that incorporated technologies from a dozen different development paths. The moons of Jupiter pulsed with energy as massive quantum computers activated, their biological components adapting and evolving in real time. "All forces," Admiral Chen's voice carried across the unified command network, "initiate final protocol. Show them why humanity chose to master all paths rather than commit to just one." The battle for Sol system had reached its turning point, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity's greatest strength had always been its refusal to accept conventional limitations. The Concordiate fleet, for all its technological sophistication, was about to discover that true advancement didn't come from perfecting a single path. It came from learning to combine all paths in ways that created entirely new possibilities. Supreme Commander Vaxthal stood motionless before the quantum display, watching as centuries of Concordiate military doctrine crumbled in the face of humanity's impossible innovations. The tactical overlay showed human vessels moving in patterns that defied traditional analysis, each ship combining technologies that should have torn themselves apart. "Send the analysis to the strategic AI again," he ordered, mandibles clicking in frustration. "There must be a pattern we're missing." Sub-Commander Rennes complied, but her response carried a note of revelation. "Sir, I believe I understand now. We're not missing the pattern. We're looking for the wrong kind of pattern entirely." In the debris field that had once been the Concordiate's forward battle group, human ships moved with fluid grace. The ESS Prometheus led a formation that seemed to shift between states of existence, their hybrid drives leaving trails of quantum distortion in their wake. Captain Diana Santos watched as her tactical display updated with new information from the quantum network. The Concordiate fleet was finally beginning to adapt, but not in the way they had expected. Individual alien ships were breaking formation, abandoning their rigid battle doctrine in favor of improvised responses. "They're starting to understand," Lieutenant Patil observed. "Look at their energy signatures. Some of their ships are attempting to modify their systems to mimic our hybrid approach. Deep within the Lunar Command Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the sudden shift in alien behavior with intense interest. "Admiral Chen," she called out, "we're detecting attempts at technological synthesis from multiple Concordiate vessels. They're trying to replicate our methods." Admiral Chen studied the data with a thoughtful expression. After all these centuries of rigid adherence to a single path, they're finally seeing the possibility of something more. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy might not be our technology. It might be the idea that there are always alternatives. Aboard the Concordiate flagship, Vaxthal received a priority transmission from his civilization's Science Council. The message was brief but represented a fundamental shift in their understanding. Analysis confirms human technological approach viable. Previous assumptions about technological incompatibility were based on incomplete understanding. Request immediate data sharing for further study. They're not just fighting us anymore. Ren has observed. They're learning from us. Each engagement teaches them more about the possibilities we've discovered. The battle had transformed into something unprecedented. Human ships continued their complex dance through space, but now they were being met with increasingly sophisticated responses. Some Concordiate vessels began exhibiting signs of technological adaptation, their systems shifting away from pure efficiency towards something more flexible. In Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the transformation with professional fascination. "The alien fleet's energy signatures are changing," she reported to Director Wei. "They're attempting to incorporate multiple technological paradigms into their existing systems. Most of their attempts are failing, but they're trying." Wei finished. "After millennia of believing there was only one correct path of development, they're finally questioning that assumption. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't the technology itself, it's the idea that drives it." Throughout the solar system, the nature of the conflict continued to evolve. Human forces maintained their tactical advantage, but the gap was narrowing as the Concordiate ships began to experiment with hybrid technologies of their own. It was crude, inefficient, and often dangerous to the ships attempting it, but it represented a fundamental shift in their understanding of what was possible. Captain Santos received updated tactical data from the quantum network. "Their attempts at technological synthesis are becoming more sophisticated," she reported to Admiral Chen. "They're starting to grasp the underlying principles of our approach, even if they can't fully replicate it yet." "Knowledge, once gained, cannot be unknown," Chen responded. "Their civilization will never be the same after this encounter. The question is, are they ready for the implications of that change?" In the void between Mars and Jupiter, a group of Concordiate ships attempted something that would have been considered heretical just hours before. They deliberately destabilized their quantum cores, allowing the energy to interact with their biological command systems in ways that mimicked human hybrid technology. Most of the attempts failed, but a few ships achieved something new. A crude but functional synthesis of technologies that their civilization had long considered incompatible. Vaxthal watched these experiments with growing understanding. The humans hadn't just developed better technology, they had developed a fundamentally different way of thinking about technology. Each failed attempt by his ships taught them more about the principles involved, and with each lesson, the rigid boundaries of Concordiate scientific doctrine began to crack. "Send a priority message to all ships," he ordered, his decision made. "Cancel offensive operations, shift to defensive positions, and continue technological observation. We came here expecting to find primitives in need of conquest. Instead, we found teachers, if we're willing to learn." The message spread through the Concordiate fleet, and with it came a profound shift in the battle's dynamics. Ships that had been attacking began to hold position, their sensors focused on analyzing human technological principles rather than seeking targeting solutions. Admiral Chen received the change in alien behavior with cautious optimism. "They're starting to understand," he observed to his command staff. "Not just the technology, but the philosophy behind it. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy, It's showing them a better way forward. As the battle for Sol system entered its final phase, both sides recognized that something unprecedented was occurring. The Concordia had arrived seeking conquest, but found instead a civilization that challenged their most fundamental assumptions about technological development. The humans, in turn, saw in their adversaries' adaptation the possibility of something greater than victory, the chance to change the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. The Grand Chamber of Earth's unified command center fell silent as Supreme Commander Vaxthal's holographic form materialized before the assembled human leadership. The alien commander's bearing was proud but humbled, his crystalline armor still bearing scorch marks from the recent battle. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his uniform adorned with symbols that represented humanity's mastery of multiple technological paths. "Supreme Commander," he began, "you've requested this dialogue. We're listening." 3 days ago, Vaxthal responded, his translator perfectly rendering the complex harmonics of his native speech. "We entered this system believing we understood the natural order of technological progression. We were wrong." The massive quantum displays surrounding the chamber showed the current state of both fleets. Human vessels had positioned themselves in a complex geometric pattern that somehow maintained stability despite combining multiple conflicting technologies. The remaining Concordia ships had adopted defensive formations, their sensors actively studying every aspect of human innovation they could detect. "Your civilization has achieved something we thought impossible," Vaxthal continued. "Not just the integration of different technological paths, but the fundamental understanding that makes such integration possible. The Science Council has reviewed the battle data. What we've seen here will revolutionize our understanding of physics itself." Dr. Elena Rodriguez stepped forward, her quantum tablet displaying complex simulations of technological synthesis. "Your ships have already begun experimenting with hybrid systems," she observed, "some quite successfully, despite the risks involved." "Necessity breeds innovation," Vaxthal acknowledged. "But more importantly, observation of your methods has forced us to confront our own limitations. We came here as conquerors and found ourselves becoming students instead." Throughout the solar system, signs of the recent battle were already being transformed. Human repair ships used impossible combinations of technology to reconstruct damaged infrastructure, while Concordiate vessels cautiously attempted their own versions of technological synthesis under human supervision. This was always the true objective, Admiral Chen revealed. Not just defending Earth, but demonstrating that there are always alternatives to established doctrine. "Your civilization isn't the first to discover us, Commander. You're the first to survive the encounter long enough to understand what we were trying to show you." The holographic displays shifted, showing historical records of other alien encounters. Each time, humanity had revealed just enough of their capabilities to drive off the invaders, but never enough to truly demonstrate the full scope of their achievement. The Concordiate's larger fleet and more advanced single-path technology had finally forced humanity to reveal the full extent of their capabilities. "We've spent centuries preparing for this moment," Chen continued. "Not just developing our technology, but waiting for a civilization advanced enough to understand what we've achieved. Your people have proven themselves capable of adapting, of questioning their fundamental assumptions about what's possible." Vaxthal's mandibles clicked in what the humans had learned to recognize as thoughtful consideration. "You could have destroyed our fleet," he observed. "Instead, you chose to teach us." "Destruction is easy," Captain Santos interjected from her position among the command staff. "Creation, true creation that breaks free from established limitations, that's the real challenge. Your ships are already beginning to grasp the principles we've spent centuries perfecting." The quantum displays updated with new data from throughout the solar system. Concordiate ships were successfully implementing primitive versions of human hybrid technology, their crews learning through trial and error how to break free from single-path limitations. Each success, each failure, taught them more about the true nature of technological progress. "What you're proposing," Vaxthal said slowly, "goes beyond a simple peace treaty. You're offering to share this knowledge with us." Knowledge wants to be free, Chen replied. The universe is too vast, too complex, for any single approach to be sufficient. We've spent centuries developing not just the technology, but the philosophical framework needed to truly understand it. We're offering your civilization the chance to join us in exploring possibilities you've never imagined. The chamber's displays shifted again, showing simulations of potential future developments. Human and Concordiate ships working together, combining their different approaches to create something entirely new. Technologies that neither civilization could have developed alone, born from the synthesis of different paths of development. The Concordiate Council will need time to process these implications, Vaxthal acknowledged. This changes everything we thought we knew about technological development, about our place in the galaxy. Take all the time you need, Chen responded. But remember, what you've seen here is just the beginning. Humanity hasn't perfected the integration of different technological paths. We've simply proven it's possible. Together, our civilizations could achieve things neither of us could manage alone. As the diplomatic discussions continued, humanity's solar system began to transform. The carefully maintained facade of primitive development was fully dismantled, revealing the true extent of human achievement. Quantum engineering merged seamlessly with biological systems, while artificial intelligence worked in harmony with organic computing networks. The Concordiate fleet, under careful supervision, began their first tentative steps toward true technological synthesis. Each success, each breakthrough, brought their civilization closer to understanding the fundamental truth that humanity had discovered centuries ago. There was never just one path forward. The true power of intelligence wasn't in perfecting a single approach, but in learning to combine all approaches in ways that created entirely new possibilities. As the sun set on Earth's primary command center, Admiral Chen stood with Captain Santos, watching the combined fleets conducting their first joint exercises in the outer system. "This is how it begins," he said quietly. "Not with conquest or submission, but with understanding. The galaxy is about to change, Diana. The question is, are they ready for what comes next?" The answer to that question lay in the future, but as human and alien ships maneuvered together through the void, each learning from the other, it was clear that a new era of galactic civilization had begun. The barriers between different paths of technological development were finally breaking down, and with them, the limitations that had held back progress for millennia. The dawn of a new age of discovery had arrived, and humanity was ready to lead the way forward.